3, 2, 1. Hello and welcome to episode 4 of MME Full Chat, and today we're joined with Ian Batey from Autodata Middle East, who will tell us how things are in the car market. Crucial info that you've been waiting to hear. And we'll start off with Ian. So hello, welcome. We're in your office.
Thank you very much.
First off, what is Autodata?
On your nice squeaky sofas there.
These are very squeaky sofas.
That's what that noise is, alright? It's not what we had for breakfast, although we were discussing that earlier.
Can't fix it in post. So
but before we do anything, I want to know what is Autodata? What do you do? What is this stuff?
Let's do a sort of 5-second elevator pitch.
Oh, take it.
Our core business is used car valuation data. In our database, or our backbone as we like to call it, we've got over 19,000 make, model types, and over 160,000 different valuation variations depending on model year.
When you say valuation variations, are you actually producing values on used cars? Is that what you're doing? Oh, right.
Yes.
So how far and how many years back is this going?
We go as far back to 1999.
Oh, right. Okay.
17 plus years of data.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Data started being collected in 2006,
Right.
and Autodata was launched in 2010. It was previously owned by a company called the ABG.
Yeah.
In 2013, the company was bought by Skelmore Group. The Skelmore Group has got 35 years plus of automotive experience, so you know they're automotive born and bred, and the rest.
And who uses this information? I mean, it's not available in the news shops, is it? You can't just go and buy this stuff, can you?
No, not at the moment.
Uh-huh.
Predominantly, we provide mainly to the insurance sector.
Uh-huh.
About 80%, we cover about 75 to 80% of the insurance market.
So hang on. So when you have an accident with your car and you go to your insurance company goes, your car's worth this much. That's your fault, is it?
Yeah, absolutely.
So you're the data.
That's right.
You are the numbers.
Yes.
That's what
So we.
I thought they just went. Yeah, we'll give them this much.
They used to.
Right, okay.
They used to. I mean, there used to be this flat depreciation of 20% year on year, but that doesn't make sense.
That's not good enough
That's
anymore.
not correct, though. Anyway, I mean, cars.
From
my understanding, and I've been involved in this a little bit. You initially get a much Parkers actually, but you get a much steeper depreciation in the first 3 years, right? It's generally 30-35%. And then it kind of starts to level off, right?
You certainly get a steep depreciation in year one.
Yeah.
And you're right, definitely the first 3 years, and then it starts to flatten off. I mean, they use our data when they're applying the policy to mitigate risk for over or under insurance, and they also use our information when it comes to claim.
No, this thing actually fascinates me, this whole used car, because I did actually used to work at Parkers actually in the UK. And it does.
My nemesis.
Well, it's Cap.
Hang on.
You were every car salesman's nemesis.
The data, when I was there, the data was actually coming from Cap.
Because
and then it was massaged.
What's Cap? For people who don't know what's Cap.
Cap was actually an industry-facing pricing guide. It was a trade guide,
So basically, competing pricing.
In the UK, there were two major trade guides.
But hang on,
Cap
you said
and there was glasses guides.
Yeah.
You said is your nemesis. Why are used car salespeople afraid of prices?
I wasn't.
Afraid of consumer.
I certainly wasn't, and I think more to the point, it's educating the consumer about actually what your car is worth and why.
Yeah.
I think it's not a case of it's worth this. It's worth this because.
So what are the factors?
And it's
break it down.
Well, first and foremost, we've got to look at market. We've got to look at the condition of the vehicle.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's crucial. Not every single used car is unique.
It's mine is the best. Mine I looked after.
Of course it is.
Yeah.
And a customer has to be treated that way. This for me is about an education process, not just with the dealers and distributors, but also with the consumers. I've personally introduced certified pre-owned programs across 2 manufacturers across multiple markets. And it's an education process for the distributor in how to deal with the customer's trading. Right? You can't just say, it's worth that, take it or leave it.
Yeah.
There has to be some kind of explanation.
Well, there were many factors when it comes to a car, because it's the age, it's the mileage, it's the condition, it's the history of the car as well.
History, market conditions, popularity. I mean, just because a car is...
Colour.
It can have...
Spec.
It absolutely,
all of these things...
So give us an example then, to make it easy for people to understand. Give us an example of 2 cars opposite ends of the spectrum. How do you evaluate them?
Well, first and foremost...
Well, no, don't do that. Do it this way.
No, don't do it this way.
No, do it this way. Do it this way. Take one model. Take a Camry. But take like a base Camry and a high-spec Camry. And what's the difference right there?
Yeah.
Well, first and foremost, its popularity. How popular is that car going to be as a used vehicle? As far as that's concerned. Because a car is only worth what someone's willing to pay for it. Yeah. At the end of the day.
That's it. That's exactly. Right? That's what we used to say at Parkers. We used to get phone calls.
Absolutely.
The car is worth that person. People phoned us up all the time.
And if we go back to that, I need to just sort of touch on this point with Parkers because a customer would come into the showroom with a copy of Parker's Guide under their arm saying, "This is what my car's worth." Yeah. No, it isn't. Yeah. Okay, that gives you a guide.
It's a guide.
A guide is a guide.
It's called the Parker's Guide. It's called Parker's Guide.
However,
not the Parker's answer.
If you ring Parker's up, they're not going to buy it off you. Yeah. So you've got to have those very difficult and believe me, uncomfortable conversations with the customer. Yeah. Salespeople don't like objections. Yeah. They like yes.
Because commission.
Unfortunately, you're going to get, when it comes to the trading, you're going to have an uncomfortable discussion because it's a depreciating asset.
Now, the thing is, we're talking about Parkers, and Parkers is in the UK, Cap is in the UK, Glass is in the UK, Parkers in the UK, well-developed market, and the way that they used to do research, and correct me if I'm wrong, is that you'd go and study all the auctions.
Absolutely.
Right, so there'd be a lot of people out there, and the same goes for Parkers, it's the same way we used to do it as well.
Many big tick jackets.
Yeah, people attending auctions, writing down values, seeing all the cars coming through this. So you'd have everything from fleet fodder to exotic metal. But primarily the fleet fodder was actually the more accurate stuff because there was volume of it meant that you'd get a fair picture of it.
Right? The more cars you have, the better your numbers are described.
So what I'm getting at is because we had that very developed market in the UK, now over here, this market is neither as big nor as developed, nor are there enough auctions. So how do you go about getting data in this market? Where do you get it from?
Well, first and foremost, we've got people that supply. We do have people that supply us data. Mm-hmm. OEM supplies data. Some of the new car distributors supply us data. We've also got people in the market gathering.
But new car manufacturers are supplying you data. Then immediately you've got to be like, whoa! I mean, they've got an incentive there to keep the values up, right?
Yeah, but we also know what the actual we know what the transactional price is. We've been in the market. We've been in the market long enough. To your point, let's take that point as an example. These markets, the GCC markets, are not dynamic, right? They're still immature and they're very undynamic. Yeah. If you go across the GCC and you look at market share, it's all cut up the same. Yeah. The size of the pie is the size of the pie, but when you talk about how it's cut up the same. So you've got Toyota at the top. Okay, then you've got some more Japanese and Koreans and so on and so on. You've got the American brands fighting it out around about sort of 5 or 6% market share, and then it goes on. Okay, so with an undynamic market, it's actually easier to gather data because there's kind of there's less of it, right? To want a better freight, So from that perspective,
it's more manageable. Basically,
it's more manageable because it's a smaller market, and because it's less dynamic, and also more importantly. Is that we've got, if you look at Dubai for example, you can drive around Dubai really. You could go to Souq Al-Haraj, you can go to Alawiyah, and that's your 2 used car markets taken care of.
But the thing is, you go down there. Okay, so here's the problem, and there's a fundamental issue with our market as well. There's no pricing on windows. There's no pricing scale. You go in there, the guy looks you up and down. How much is the car?
He evaluates you.
He evaluates I like your shoes, wallah, and you have an expensive watch, wallah, it's 500,000.
It's funny you should say that. When I first came here, I was national manager at Alftown Motor Mall. And one of the things that I found out I discovered straight away, we didn't price our cars. Yeah. And I was like,
you didn't price your cars.
What do you mean? I mean, we didn't have the price in the screen. Yeah. And for me, that was just like bonkers. Yeah. Like, why don't we put... Well, it means the customers can talk to us. Yeah. No, hang on a minute. The price of the cars aren't a secret. Yeah. Right?
But why is it treated as a secret? If a lot of people...
You've just made that perfect point. They'll look you up and down and put 5,000
so they can make it up. And that's my problem. That's what I'm talking about when you go out to research these prices. Yeah. How are you able to sift through that, to filter through that and go, right, this is actually the price. This is what he would have charged me. I mean, to be fair, let's be utterly racist here. I mean, you go there, right? And, you're a gola, you go there and the guy looks you up and you go, okay, yeah, I can charge him a bit more.
I'll get another 10,000.
Whereas if I go down there, maybe I'll get a little bit less, If I know the lingo, I'll get even less, you know what I mean? It's like that sort of thing,
Well, there are the credible... and let's not hide the fact they're the credible retailers, and they're the dodgy retailers, that do exactly that. You know, we take data from credible sources because at the end of the day, yes, there's I suppose a dirty side of the used car business, but you know what? The consumer is far more switched on these days than people give them credit for. Yeah. I said at the beginning of the year that 2017 the market will mature far quicker than it ever has done before, and I honestly think that's been the case.
So maturity in the sense of the customer being more savvy, there being more information.
It's more consumer. But if we look at the market historically, it was always driven by the distributors or the used car retailers. It's now starting to flip on its head and start to be driven by the consumer.
Which is the reality.
And that is exactly how it should be.
That's what I'm saying. That's the reality in most other mature markets, right? Here it's not been an ordinary market. We've had a very strange market here, which harks all the way back to when cars used to arrive on ships. And people just used to go down to the docks and just hand over money as the cars were coming down.
And they were all white.
Yeah.
Because, and I remember that as well. That was quite rather funny. When I first white car in the UK, if you worked at Parker's, someone drove on with a white car in the UK. There's no way you want to value it because you wouldn't be able to sell it.
I remember when the police switched to silver cars because they couldn't sell their cars. They switched their entire fleet to silver cars.
Nothing white in the UK. Yeah. Right? Someone drives on with a white car in the UK. You're like, oh no chance. I've got to value that. Or I've got to try and buy that.
Yeah. White cars and green cars.
So from that perspective, when I saw everything was white, and then why is everything white? It's what people want.
Yeah.
No, it's what has been imported.
Yeah.
There's no choice. There's no consumer choice. If you look now, if you go to just say Festival City Toyota, look around the showroom. There is a plethora of colours available, and that's because the consumer now starts to drive the market instead of the other way around.
And this
it's
is
not a case of take it or leave it.
And so this is what you mean about maturity of market, where the consumer is going, this is what I want, this is how I want it.
That's right.
And I know what I'm talking about.
And it's either adapt or fall behind.
I think we should take some credit for this, because I think that the availability of information is just like let's take credit for this. I think the availability of information, which is the sort of stuff that we've done in Motoring Middle East and before that a car, where we've made this, where we're also very accessible. People come to us, they ask us questions, they ask us.
So
today I had 2 questions.
So what you provide is clarity. What you provide is clarity.
Clarity.
And what we are providing is clarity of opinion.
We're all about transparency. Okay. I'm an ex-used car salesman. I've been in the automotive business 16 years. I came into it late when I was 30, but I've sold used cars in the UK. I've been a national manager here. But I'm all about being open and upfront and honest with the consumer. Okay, because it's really
how do you get that message across? How long have we got in this segment?
About 7 minutes.
Okay, how do you get that message across? Because there's still, especially like we've just done a series of films with Automall, and putting our money where our mouth is. I did originally buy my car when I came out here. I bought it from Automall because I came from that environment where I wanted to be safe, and I looked around the market and I thought there's a lot of dodgy metal out there. So I made a beeline for the approved schemes, and I found the car I wanted at Automall. That's where I got it from. But over here, when we try and talk to our readers and our viewers, they're still like, but I'm paying more. Why am I paying more? And we're constantly trying to explain to them, you're paying more
should you go for a CPO car?
Peace of mind. How do you get that message across? And they just think they're trying to be ripped off.
Let me give you this is an example. Certified pre-owned. It's a classic. If you just look at the Crossroad at Alnabuga, they've got a fantastic certified pre-owned program. Do you know why? I wrote it. I delivered
that's
it.
handy.
And that's why. But it's all about transparency. Every single vehicle has been through the workshop. You will get a booklet that identifies anything that's been done to that car before sale, because it's about transparency.
And not just repairs, accidents,
not just about
anything.
Repairs, everything. Yeah. Absolutely
transparent. But would you retail an accident damaged car on the shop floor, or would you put auction?
You know what? I think it depends on. I think it depends the extent. And
again, fender bender versus massive amounts of airbags.
Exactly. I think you need to take a commercial and consumer driven decision on whether you do that or not. You know,
but the thing is, again, you know, I mean, there's still this skepticism here. No matter how much we try and tell them, we face this. We're trying to explain the situation. Like I said, we just done this series of films with Automobile. We went behind the scenes. We saw how they inspect the cars. We actually did, for real. We actually did. That was a real place. We went there. We saw those mechanics doing what they do, and we saw them actually checking cars.
Yes.
You know, and we try to explain to people, this is what you're paying for. The car's been looked over. It's been checked. Accident damage has been checked for. History has been checked for. But people out there are like, yeah, they all say that. You know, I don't believe them. You know, I will get a better deal from Valuation. I'm like, whoa, you're on your own. Flood damaged cars coming in from America right now.
If we've got, you know, we can identify every single type of total loss on a US VIN. We've just partnered up with a supplier in the US, and
so this is part of what you're doing now.
Part of what we're doing now. We're going to go directly with the consumer with VinCheck.
Can I ask a quick question there?
Yes.
According to a new rule that I heard, if a car is a total loss in the US, it won't be allowed to be imported into the UAE.
Yes, it will.
Is that true? Or it will be?
No, it's not true.
Okay.
It will be.
See,
there are five.
There
There are five types of total loss that will not be allowed to be imported to the UAE. The other 16 will get through the system.
So what are the 5 types that cannot come?
I can't remember off the top of my head.
Right. Okay. But are they like severe? They're pretty severe.
It's well,
cut and shut
any
jobs.
type of total loss is severe in my eyes.
Yeah.
You know, if it's a total loss, it's beyond economical repair.
Yeah, but sometimes insurance companies will do that because it's uneconomical for them to repair a car, right?
Well, at the end of the day, let me ask you a question. Would you rather know a vehicle's a total loss than not know a vehicle's a total loss?
I would,
and then you can make a decision.
Yes.
You know, I don't want my wife driving down the Sheikh Mohammed bin Zayed Road at 130 kilometres an hour being passed by a vehicle that has one of the other 16 types of total loss attached to it.
Yeah.
When we did our research with VinCheck, 65% of the VINs that we checked that were for sale in this market were total loss. Okay?
Wow.
We had
how much again? How much? Say that again. 65%. 65% of cars on the used market here.
65% of the VINs that we checked.
And that's everything.
The US VINs.
All the used cars.
Well, US vehicles on the used market.
And
wow.
Look, let's not forget, it's high-end stuff. They don't send the low-end stuff. They don't send the cut and shut Yaris. What's the point? You know, we're talking about Lexus, Merc, Beamer, so on and so on and so on.
Wow.
So we're talking high-end stuff. The exposure was 4.5 million dirhams. Okay, we had not just junk and salvage and flood damage and fire and so on and so on. There was a Bentley that was fire damage.
Wow.
We had a vehicle. We had 2 instances that were crushed. Okay?
Crushed, but on sale here.
Crushed. The VIN. But no, the VIN was on sale here.
Right.
What does that relate to?
Oh, dodgy cars.
What does that relate to?
That's repurposing the VIN right there.
So it's repurposing the VIN number.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's stolen cars. Any number.
All of this is currently going on in this marketplace. So I say to any consumer, okay, would you rather pay a little bit more and go to a distributor?
Yeah.
Or would you rather put your life in somebody else's
hands?
And
you are putting your life in your hands.
That's what you're doing. Of course you are. I don't want to be depressed.
That's a very easy way to weed these out, though. Playing devil's advocate here. Just don't buy American import. Just buy a GCC spec car, but privately. Then you won't have a flood damage car,
right.
hopefully.
Good. But because that means... No, there's no bar. No, there's no bar. No, there's no bar.
Yeah.
Because I want to squeeze the grey market out. Because you know why? It means that our market improves.
Yeah.
You know, because more new vehicles will be sold in this market.
But even
more used vehicles will be sold in this market.
But I will add a but to that, because even locally, but even locally, because you know, I've heard that you can go to some place, maybe in Sharjah, and ask them to put whatever mileage you like on the car, you know, and there are things like that go on here. Let's be honest, right?
You can buy.
There are half cuts and things like that.
You can buy the equipment here that takes 90 seconds to adjust the mileage on your car.
Yeah.
Right?
90 seconds.
90 seconds. Just plug it into the ECU.
Thousands of dollars worth of value just add straight on.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, again, when you're looking at, and this is when we talk about reputable retailers and non-reputable retailers.
Yeah.
Because if I appraised a vehicle and it originally had 200,000 clicks on it and it only had 80 on the clock, I guarantee you I could find the telltale signs that vehicle,
there are things that you look
has
for.
done more.
Shiny pedals, shiny steering wheel, all that stuff. You look for stuff.
Right. So now the RT obviously logs the mileage, and every time you go for renewal, they say this was the mileage, etc. So they log it as well.
At the end of the day as well, this is when we talk about certified pre-owned and reputable dealers, right? And that's the difference. Consumers will become. I mean, I see it on Facebook all day. Like, you know, Brits in Dubai, for example, is I'm on a web page on the Facebook page, obviously because I'm a Brit.
What do you talk about, Brits in Dubai? It's very hot. It's not raining. Excellent. Let's go to the beach. Is that what happens on
Brits in Dubai? No, Brits in Dubai. It's actually, it's a minefield out there. I'm looking for a used car. It's a minefield out there. Yeah. Yes, it is a minefield out there. Go to a local distributor because at the end of the day, you know what you're getting. Yeah. Of course, you're going to pay a premium.
But this is the thing. See, you come from a mentality. So I did the same thing when I came over from the UK. Well, I came from a mentality where I wanted peace of mind. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll wrap up this session. We'll come back in part 2. And we'll just go over quickly, how does a consumer protect himself? How can he get information from you guys and know what the value of the car is and check the car? And then we'll talk a little bit about the state of the market. Great, we're back with part 2, and we've just been handed this thing, which is Fast Track Comprehensive Inspection Service powered by Autodata. What's this?
Okay, quite simply, it's a 125-point inspection.
125 points.
125 point inspection.
All of that.
You know what? I kind of despair sometimes about the number of points that are inspected.
Yeah, I was going to say it's a bit of a like. I've got more points than you.
Yeah, I don't.
I've got 100 million points.
I don't quite get that.
Yeah.
So what we've done with our process, it's what's inspected is important, not the number of points that are inspected. Yeah. Okay, so hence the reason why we haven't put 125 point inspection. It's a comprehensive inspection.
Yeah. So let's go back to basics. So what is it? Where can people get it from? Okay. Is it available to anyone?
It's we've actually launched it in the last couple of days.
Oh, cool! This is news.
It's going to be available across all 14 fast track service centres.
In Dubai?
In the UAE.
In the UAE?
In the UAE.
Wow, okay.
We cover our lane, Northern Emirates, and we cover Dubai, and we are very close to finalising a location for Abu Dhabi.
So what happens? You can go there, if you're selling your car, you can go there and get a certificate for it? Or does a buyer go there, or how does it work?
Both.
Both, okay.
Either. If you're selling your car, so for example, if I'm selling my car and I want to advertise it, okay, if I want to maximise my return on my depreciating asset, because that's what it is. I bought it at one price. I bought it at 100, and now it's only worth 60, for example. You can go to a fast track service centre. You can have the vehicle inspected. You will then receive this booklet, and you can also get, if you request, it's up to you. You can also get a valuation certificate if you want to. You don't have to get a valuation certificate, but you can ask for one. Yeah. So, and that is based on
1964.
It's based on the inspection.
He's older than me.
Yeah. It's based on the inspection, okay, and it's based on the condition of the vehicle. You also have an opportunity to put any small repairs right if you want to. Now, let me give you an example. Without that, my car's worth 60. With that, it's worth 63.
Okay, so let's just go through this. I just want to read this out because it's got because you've got a sample on there. So there's Mr. Joe Blogs on there, and the information that this gives, it's got the number plate of the car. Obviously, it's got the person's name. It's got the person's mobile number, so you can get back to them, and their date of birth. Why is the date of birth important? Do you think? Is that because it's fairly substantial? It's right up there on the top there. Isn't it?
One of those. The banks, we're just about to launch with one of the major banks. I can't say who it is, but date of birth is a point of reference for customers.
For them, right? Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then you start with the vehicle details. It starts straight away with the VIN number, engine number, and the VIN. Just for people that don't know or don't understand the importance of a VIN number. Can you just explain?
It's the unique vehicle identification number.
It's the identity of that car.
It's the vehicle's identification. Yeah. I suppose it's the DNA. I suppose.
Yeah.
It's from that you can trace it back to manufacturer.
You can trace it back to manufacturer. You can trace it back to country of origin, and you can also trace model year.
And this stuff is stamped onto nowadays. It's stamped onto the glass, or it's stamped onto the dashboard, isn't it?
On the windscreen, sometimes on the dash, sometimes on the door pillar.
In the old days, it used to be under the carpets. And
it used to be under the carpet somewhere, and then there'll be a plate. If you lift the bonnet, it'll be on a plate.
And all of those numbers must match.
All must match.
And then the second number you actually give is the engine number. So that's almost equally important to make sure the engine hasn't been
fixed. Because engines can be changed.
Sometimes engine number isn't available, or sometimes engine number isn't. You can't decipher it. So that's not a crucial element.
Right.
VIN number.
VIN number is a crucial thing.
Yes.
Then it gives you model year, it gives the make, which in this case you've chosen a Ford, model EcoSport, type ambient. So type is the trim level.
That's right.
That's what it gives there. It's an ambient.
That's right.
It gives the kilometers. In this case, it says 25,000 kilometers.
Yep.
Gives the color. Gives the engine size.
Yep.
Gives the transmission to the detail at which it actually says dual clutch.
That's correct.
So it doesn't just say auto. It actually says dual clutch.
That's correct.
So if it was a CVT, it would say.
That's correct.
Right. CVT. There you go.
Now a big sticker saying "Don't buy this car." CVT.
CVT. It would just be a sad.
It's a red paper.
It'd just be a sad face. It'd be like CVT.
Yeah.
So a number of doors, number of seats, and GCC spec. Whether or not it's
we
a
keep
GCC
saying
spec.
this GCC spec.
So it actually says that on here.
Yeah.
So this is crucial, and this adds to the value of the car.
Of course it does. Of course it does. If you've had your vehicle inspected, you can spend a few dirhams, have your vehicle fully inspected, and it'll add to the residual value because, again, it's about peace of mind and transparency.
Yeah.
So if you're a consumer selling to another consumer, you can say to your future buyer, look, I've spent time and effort, I've got it's now an officially approved vehicle, to want the better phrase.
Yeah,
because
the
consumer to consumer segment is a big market, and people want more transparency, more credibility, more trust, and all of those other things.
I'm just going to come back to GCC in a minute, but okay. So just to finish this off, and at the end here, it gives a retail valuation, and in this case, it says 38,700. Now, of course, this is a sample. Now, this is specific to this car.
Yes.
So this is not like, it's worth from this to this. No, this actual car is worth this.
It's based on the information that has been gleaned from the inspection.
Yeah.
Because the inspection will then automatically decipher a scoring mechanism.
Yeah.
And that scoring mechanism will adjust the value.
So once you've got this, you can advertise your car for this much, or you can, basically
advertise it
negotiate
for higher if you want. It's up to you.
But you can negotiate with the buyer and say, look, this is what my car is actually worth.
This is what my car's worth. You can advertise it higher if you want to, and then negotiate down.
Right.
But at the end of the day, you've had the vehicle inspected.
So this is a very useful thing to have for a lot of people that are a little bit concerned about how much is the car, what can they get for it.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a definitive answer right there.
Of course, and what it also produces, a unique identification number for the valuation, and that is locked.
Right.
Okay.
So even if you lose this, they can come back to you here.
It can be verified.
Right.
Your history
and
evaluation
it can be verified through certificates.ae.
Right.
Okay. And anybody can go on there and verify a certificate number, and it's free of charge.
So it's locked in time.
It's locked.
It's locked in time.
Absolutely.
So just coming back to the GCC spec, because I just want to put you on the spot a little bit. What would you say is the percentage worth of a GCC spec versus a non-GCC spec car?
Oh, you know what? We vary it probably from anything from 25 to 40% difference.
25 to 40% difference?
Yes.
Same year, same model,
yes.
GCC spec versus non-GCC
yes.
spec? Wow!
Yes.
That's substantial.
Yeah, because bottom line is it's not built for super hot.
Yeah.
We know that there are huge.
I want to go into this a little bit because we have this question on the radio so much. We get it through our messages so much. They go, it's more than just a radiator, right?
Of course it is. I'm not the technical guy. You've just spoken to the technical guy behind camera. That's Bill.
Yeah.
But I could give you one example. When we imported Sequoia at Alpha Tame.
That was 2007. That was a while ago.
Yeah. Something about. I think it might have been 8 or 9. Might have been something like that. First of all, we made a big mistake because it was a 4x2.
Shouldn't have brought the two-wheel drive. Yes, I've always said that.
It was 4x2, and then because then everyone thought it was always 4x2.
And the thing is, there's the trouble with our market is once you've done that even though later the four-wheel drive was available, but it was too late. They killed it.
Too late. They killed it. Yeah. However, there were 152 spec differences between US spec.
152.
152.
152. They were technical.
Yeah.
Nothing obvious.
Yeah.
Technical.
Yeah. So ranging from cooling to radio to lights to the seals.
Absolutely.
But people are still running around in US spec Sequoias and Tundras. It's the same, It's the same.
I mean, we get people actually messaging us going, oh, my car is broken. Why isn't it working? Where did you get the car from? Oh, it's a US spec car. Well, then what did you expect?
That's
right.
It's like, when you think you plug it into diagnostics, it can't read it.
Yeah.
Or for example, I knew somebody that bought a US spec vehicle, didn't know because it wasn't disclosed. Bought it from another consumer. The other consumer.
Surely the speedometer
the other consumer.
Oh no!
You would have thought.
Oh no!
But the other consumer didn't say anything. Anyway, radio didn't work.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Took it to the distributor. it was going to cost him 4,000 dirhams more to have the imported radio brought in and fitted.
These are really expensive units.
So much for your bargain, eh?
No, the Mercedes, because I looked into this. So I looked into this once for a G-Wagon because one of our readers wanted and I think it was 8,000 or 9,000 dirhams to replace the unit in a G-Wagon.
Yes.
Because they're like, I remember, it was a student that had gone over there, had bought a G-Wagon there, and then had brought it back.
Paid all the money to have it imported.
Yeah. And now it's like, the radio doesn't work.
Well,
like,
we got a question on Behind the Wheel some couple of weeks ago, and someone says, I'm looking at importing a US spec Mustang. And I went, no. Yeah. I guarantee you that there'll be something wrong with it. Yeah. Right?
You didn't leave the US because people just didn't want it.
Just forget it, okay? Buy one from the local market. I mean, you've got Autodata down the road. Yeah. Okay, and I know I was at Ford Middle East and Africa. I know that nearly everybody in the office drives Mustangs. Yeah. So they've got quite a few used Mustangs.
Around. Oh, there's plenty around.
There's a lot of there's a good few GCC spec Mustangs around at decent money. So buy one.
So there's no need to go.
Buy one. Yeah. Most people get. Let's think about it in real terms, right? Most people get an auto loan, right? They go to a bank and borrow some money and spread it over a monthly payment. If you think about, I don't know, 10,000 dirhams difference between one and the other, you split that over 60 months at the low interest rates that are around at the moment. That is negligible for peace of mind. You're talking 30 dirhams a month. Yeah. Yeah. So, and that's just me doing.
So that's the thing. No, that's quite right. I mean, so, it's worth going that extra.
If you think about, the true saving or the true cost or the true value, how much is it worth to me? Well, first and foremost, 25 to 40% is going to be the valuation difference. Yeah. Because it's not built for super hot. It's not a GC.
There are two things I want to put onto that. One about your Mercedes spec radios, and now the enterprising young men of Sharjah. There is a place, the Battle of Sharjah, which I don't recommend you go to, but they can actually reprogram the radios now. They figure everything is possible after a while. Enough years have passed. People will reverse engineer the radio. This is not a solution. This is a kludgy fix. But, if people that price point are not going to be going, unfortunately, to the dealership to spend 8,000 dirhams on a radio. So they'll spend 200 dirhams.
There's always.
But this is not the answer either.
No, it isn't. Yeah. But there's always going to be an element of that
Somebody
market.
For a niche starts to make some money on that. So yeah.
I mean, there's always going to be an element of that market, but it's getting that side of the market is becoming smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller. Yeah. We've just signed a significant agreement with the managing entity of Suka Haraj, okay, who are going to bring clarity and transparency to the auto market in Sharjah, and the dealers want that. Genuinely, the dealers want that because they can see that that's the way the market's going.
These are the dealers in the Sharjah,
and they want that,
and they do want that.
Yes, they do.
Right.
Yes.
That surprises me.
Yes. That really surprises me.
It
really shocks me almost.
I mean, it's almost like the further north you go from Dubai, the dodgier things get. Is my sort of general sentiment when it comes to used cars.
You ever been in the Ajman used car souk?
We went there.
Oh, that was terrifying.
But there were lots of interesting things there.
Yeah, honestly. You were like, ooh, that's 15,000 dirhams, and they're like, oh, that's 15,000.
So this is the thing. This is what we find because we sometimes go out and we'll just go car hunting just for the sake of it. And every now and then you'll see a car and you'll just go, ooh, and it's probably dodgy history. It may well be a write-off, but the guy's like, okay, 20,000 dirhams ago, I could get him down to 15, get myself a nice,
Come on, we all know that if a deal is too good to be true, it probably is. Especially when it comes to a used car. I know we'll get onto the new car market in a little while, but when it comes to used cars, have an eyes wide open. I just plead to people, okay, have an eyes wide open approach. Look at it. Look at the bigger picture. Think about first and foremost. Yes, people want to save money. Of course, you want to save money, but are you really saving money? What's
in the longer term?
In the long run, what's the benefit to you?
Yeah, it's saving money, but it's also safety. It's also peace of mind.
Of course it is.
At the end of the day, I mean, there are things like, for example, spurious car parts. And I read about the fact that
fake parts.
I read about the fact that, for example,
Toyota's a big victim of this out there. A lot of fake Toyota bits are running around.
And the thing is that people think, as long as the brake pads and stuff are real, then everything else can be fake. No, I read about this story. It's a horrific story, and really, turn away if you're squeamish. But somebody getting a bonnet all right, that was not an original OEM part bonnet, and then having a crash. This bonnet was not designed to crumple, so the bonnet actually sliced through
the car.
The car.
That's right.
Yeesh. Yeesh.
But this is real. Yeah. You know, and I think sometimes when we look at the export markets and the used car export markets, you know, there is a reason why Toyota have 40% market share. It isn't just because they're fit for purpose in this market. It isn't just because they've been the longest serving distributor and so on and so forth. It isn't just because Japanese. It's because you can get a starter motor for a Fortuner in a village in Africa.
Yeah.
That's why.
Yeah,
you know, because it's not just the home market. It's
but what you're saying then is that actually increases the danger with these cars, because you can get these bits from all over the place, and you don't know if they're real bits or not.
Well, if we're talking about fake parts that when the customs exercise do find fake parts, they have you can't tell.
Yeah.
And
even the packaging,
the
boxing, the
barcodes, the part numbers, everything.
Yeah, it's all identical.
Everything.
Okay, I don't want to end on a 5 minutes. I don't want to end on a doom and gloom, all right? Because I actually think that this is a good time to be buying a used car. And right now, specifically this year, I think is a good time for any buyer out there. You know, this is a strong time for a buyer. And I think in the used market as well. And I think we've never had it so good because so many more pre-owned and used-approved schemes are starting up. So overall, what's your perception of the used market and where it's going? And you know, why or not people should buy now?
First, I'll take your first question. First and foremost, certified pre-owned is the future, and always has been the future, and should be the future, because if you're a new car manufacturer, if you have a very, very good certified pre-owned program, it can help you grow your new car volume. And also, when you think about it, it's a lower price point for somebody to enter the brand. And I'll give you one example. I might aspire to own a Volkswagen Golf GTI, but I can't afford a new one. But I can buy one that's 18 months old.
So instead of paying the 125,
instead of paying 125, I pay 95.
Yeah.
But I still get my Volkswagen Golf 7 GTI. Yeah. So, which then introduces somebody into the brand. Then what? And what can't speak, can't lie. When I did my research for Ford when I was at Ford and looked at the US numbers, somebody that buys a certified pre-owned car from a distributor is twice as likely to buy a new one next time.
From the same distributor, yeah. But that's a benefit for the dealer and for the distributor. What's the benefit for the consumer? Yeah.
Of course, it's a benefit for the consumer because I get my Mark 7 Golf GTI, or I get the vehicle that I want to drive at a lower price. And I get transparency, and I get guarantees, and I get warranties. Yeah.
You have comeback if anything happens.
And you've got comeback. I can drive it to the distributor and I can complain. I've got someone to talk to. Yeah. Because certified pre-owned programs are all about having a very, very a new car experience, I suppose. Long gone should be the days where a new car customer gets a different experience to a used car customer. Yeah. Because it's all price relative and it's all income relative.
I think that's the key here. And we've tried to explain this, and even in some of the films that we've done recently, we've tried to explain this, that actually it's as good as buying a new car. It's that experience. It's the same experience. You're not like being shoved around the back and I may have some stuff around the back.
Yeah, I've got 10 dirty cars around the back that you can have a look at. And maybe you'll buy one and maybe you won't. Yeah. So from that perspective, customer comes in and gets greeted properly. They get a test drive. They get all of those things that the customer should get. It's called customer service.
So just in the last 2 minutes then, what is the state of the used market? Why is it now a good time to buy?
Now's a good time to buy because there's, personally, I think there's a lot of much newer used car stock out there available. Because quality stock. Yeah. And the reason for that is distributors and manufacturers are trying to push volume into a restricted market. So that means that they're doing higher volume offers to fleet customers, for example, which means that there's more nearly new stuff washing through the system.
Right.
So
they're turning over the fleets a bit quicker and stuff like that.
Quicker. They turn company cars quicker, turn demonstrators quicker, service cars quicker. Yeah. They're going into personal leasing and their own leasing companies.
So what about your top tips then? What sort of cars should somebody be looking out for? Is it the larger executive cars or mid-range cars?
What's the best?
Good?
Where's the best deal right
Oh,
now?
you know what? Somebody asked me that. Somebody asked me that once.
Yeah.
I'm asking you
And
now.
That's it. No. And the reason why I find that a virtually impossible question to answer, because the best deal isn't necessarily the best deal for me.
Yeah.
All right. So whether it be monetary, whether it be vehicle driven, whether it be service driven, what is the best deal for me?
Yeah.
What do I want to drive?
But
How much have I got to spend?
So what I mean by that, okay, let's put it another way. What is there a lot of in the market right now? What's the top tip? Like, okay, go for this one. There's plenty around. Get a good deal on them. Is there anything like that in the market or anything like that?
Right. I mean, for me, and I can't help it, but I'd always go personally. If I want a sedan, I'd always go for a Camry.
Mm-hmm. Solid.
Why
choice.
not? Solid.
Yeah.
Something
Plenty
like,
of
something
choice,
like an SE or an SE Plus.
Yeah.
SE Plus, good spec.
Yeah.
Because Toyota now definitively badge their range.
Mm-hmm.
I was part of the project team that did that. That definitive badging means that we know what trim level it is, which also helps residual value by the way. Which we know.
Yeah, because when I was growing up in the 80s, there were so many badges: G, L,
Oh,
LX,
it's crazy.
XL.
People didn't know what they were driving.
Yeah.
But, myself and Bill Carter were both at Autumn together, and we did a straw poll. 75% of people didn't know what car they were driving. Had no clue what trim level it was. It was either fully loaded or base, nothing in between.
Cool. So what we'll do is we'll come back part 3. In part 3 we'll talk about new cars. We'll talk about the new car market and how the market's doing. It's a bit of doom and gloom, but I think there's reasons to be optimistic. Find out in part 3. So welcome back to part 3. So we've talked about used cars a lot and what people should do about valuations and checking the cars and being safe. But what if you don't have to worry about that? What if you're buying a new car? Is now a good time to buy new cars? I mean, the market seems to be pretty much depressed at the moment, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's been. I think we need to go back to the quote. This is the new normal. Okay.
Yeah.
It's the market shrunk.
But just hang on, before we do that, let's just put that into context, because obviously you sent out a report which I did cover in another video some time back. Just give us some of the figures that you've quoted
big top line
about this market this year.
Well, if we look at UAE only, it's probably going to finish up about 25% down.
25%
on
down
16
from 2016,
which was already about 22% down on 15.
Wow.
So
we're talking nearly 50% down on sort of levels that people were used to.
Let's also not forget that there used to be huge numbers of re-export from the UAE into.
What happened to those cars? I heard that they've all gone away
into other markets.
Yeah.
Well, the other market, the re-export markets have also shrunk.
What's the reason?
There's one massive reason, and that's low oil prices globally.
Okay.
It's had a massive impact on.
So cars aren't going to Saudi, aren't going to Oman. No. I heard Oman also restricts cars older than a certain amount of age.
Absolutely.
So all that hurts as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So all of this has had an impact on the numbers, and I'm using inverted commas, the numbers.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if we say that the re-export market used to be 30%, it's now 10. Right. So there's 20%.
That's 20%.
That's 20%
right
of
there.
50.
Yeah.
So you can write that off for starters.
Yeah.
Also getting accurate new car
sales data. Yeah, I was going to ask actually, where do you get the data from? Because it's not openly available, is it?
It isn't. I mean, you do get MAAC, and obviously MAAC is one of those things that you have to look at.
Just tell our MAAC, what is MAAC?
Middle East Automotive Companies. Correct me if I'm right or wrong. I hope I'm right. But they will supply data, but it depends if the distributor / OEM have supplied the information
accurately given them the data.
Again.
There's a lot of jiggery pokery that goes on.
The only true way ever going to get accurate sales information is if you've got registration data. We're working on it.
Yeah.
We are working.
That's from the government.
Yeah, it's from the government.
That's direct from the government. So that can't be. But that doesn't account for exports, though.
No, it doesn't.
No.
But it will give you the real size of your home market.
Of the actual car park. Yeah.
Exactly. Of the actual car park.
Yeah.
So look, at the end of the day, the size of the pie is the size of the pie.
Yeah.
One of the things that I've been saying for the last couple of years is that, and this is trying to get the the message to the home country manufacturer, and I'm not on about the local OEM, is that concentrate on market share, because the size of the pie is the size of the pie.
So actually, if you think about it, from what you're saying, if the export market was that amount, and it's taken that amount, say we wipe that amount, you're taking 20% of, say, 30%, the 30% drop, 20% is export market. So realistically, as a market, if you just take the market itself, it's not that bad, is it?
No, it's not. I mean, I think probably over the last couple of years, realistically, it's been about 25% shrinkage or there or thereabouts.
Yeah.
Which isn't as doomy and gloomy as people would perceive.
Yeah.
And it's only because the experience of what we do, we can kind of see the wood for the trees, and filter out some of the rubbish that you would get. But the positivity is that manufacturers are starting to concentrate on market share, which is the right thing to do. But
that involves working for a change, doesn't it? That involves going out and what you said earlier. This is the new normal. This is the new reality of it, and it's something that we're saying as well. It's like, stop waiting for the boom time to come back. So that's not happening. And I think you predicted that the next growth won't be until 2019, and then by 5%.
Maybe 5%. Yeah.
So this is. I think I've quoted you correctly there. Yeah. But the reality is, this is the new reality. This is how it's going to be.
Yes.
So what you have to do now is to go out and sell cars.
Yes.
Because people are still buying cars. Cars are still being sold.
Yeah.
You just have to work harder in order to make that happen.
And it doesn't necessarily mean, we spoke about this earlier on, about used cars. What's the best deal at the moment? Okay. Well, the best deal for me isn't the best deal for you.
Yeah.
Okay. So there are plenty of people walking through the showroom doors. It's how we treat those customers when they walk through the showroom doors that matters, because you will have something that fits.
Yeah.
You just got to find out what it is.
But the thing is, it goes even beyond that. I mean, and I'm going to bring this back to us as well, to the media, because at the end of the day, you've got people walking through showroom doors. But first of all, you've got to get them to walk through the showroom doors.
Yeah.
And I think what happens here a lot is that manufacturers and dealers are bringing cars into the market. And honestly, our readers are going, oh, is that car on sale here?
They take the people for granted. They don't tell them the cars are on sale. So they expect the consumer to be a lot more well-versed than he has to be. Yeah. How does he know that a new car is on sale right now? Oh, well, and they come in and it's sold out. Classic. Yeah. And they're like, well, how comes I missed out on that? So,
I mean, there has to be, like other markets, there has to be marketing, there has to be advertising, there has to be incentivization, there has to be proper
Putting
PR.
a car on sale isn't enough.
Introducing a car quietly. I mean, for example, there was a car, I think it's a Lincoln, facelifted. So they've taken the face of the new Continental, and it's now on the other models.
Yeah.
But nobody actually knows about this now.
Yeah. It looks like Continental now.
Yeah.
It makes the MKZ look a lot.
Old,
yeah.
So and for example, more recently, I've just tested the Hyundai Ioniq.
Which we didn't even know was on
which
sale.
Which a lot of people didn't even know it's here.
Hyundai is a hybrid.
Hyundai Creta.
Yes.
That is a great.
It's doing quite well, I think, in the market.
I'll tell you what. You know why? Because a lot of the leasing companies are buying them.
Yeah,
really.
Because there's such great value for money on a monthly payment.
Now this is interesting because you've just touched on leasing now. Is leasing the future here? Is that going to help people? Because it's something that works in other markets, leasing, PCP, hire purchase, all these sort of schemes.
Well, the reason why it isn't a significant segment in the market at the moment is because nobody's actually grabbed hold of it and run with it.
Sort of grudgingly put it into effect.
I'm a big fan of personal leasing, right? Because I only pay for what I use. I lease both of my cars. Okay, so and that's because one monthly payment is insured.
Yeah.
All I have to do is put fuel in and pay for SALIC.
Yeah.
Debited from my credit card. How simple is that? No depreciation, no messing around, no selling.
By no depreciation, you mean the value is already agreed.
It's already agreed.
Yeah, so it's already agreed. So that's why there's no depreciation.
There's no risk.
There is depreciation, but you know what it's going to be.
But there's no risk for me.
Yeah.
Because
you don't have equity in the car.
Leasing company, the leasing company take the risk on the depreciation.
Yeah.
So from that perspective, yes, I think if you lead as a distributor, most people are budget driven from a monthly perspective.
That's right. Yeah.
We all get paid monthly. Okay, we pay dealer monthly,
Yeah.
we pay Tislat monthly, we pay Do monthly,
Yeah.
we pay so-and-so monthly. Most people pay their car monthly. So if you've got an attractive offer on a monthly payment basis, right? It hasn't got to be too good to be true, but it's got to tick the boxes. Then that will bring people to your showroom.
Yeah.
Now, at the end of the day, how you then transact is kind of irrelevant because somebody's going to buy a car.
What you've just done there is explained in a simple, clear, concise manner. And that's what every car company has failed to do in the last... I mean, I remember watching a story on this.
Yeah.
And I tried to ask every single manufacturer, whether it was the Altair, and nobody had an explanation that was less than like 6 pages long. And they all wanted to go about in their own special snowflake way. And, just keep it simple. Why is it so complicated? Why does it have to be?
Well,
it's one price.
What happens is... When we talk about, and we'll talk about sales, we'll talk about showroom sales, and I was saying to you earlier on that I've written and delivered sales training. There are 3 main areas where an objection will come from the consumer. Okay, we've got cost, we've got competition. Okay, but one of the biggest ones is confusion.
Yes.
The customer gets confused. Whose fault's that? There's so much going on. They can't see the wood for the trees. Yeah. And more importantly, customer goes into the showroom and says, "I've seen this in the classified, so on and so on," and the salesman says, "Oh, hang on a minute, I don't quite know how that works."
Give me 5 minutes.
Right? I'm sorry, but you've blown your chances.
That's
completely.
It's gone right there. Because he may go and find out, but the confidence is gone then.
Of course it has.
It's gone because you're like, well, this guy doesn't know what he's talking about. Why am I going to deal with this guy?
I know.
And we were talking about this earlier, just off the camera, about that relationship that is so crucial between a salesperson and a customer.
Yes.
And it's something that can actually keep bringing that customer back for years and even generations in some cases, right?
Absolutely. Of course it can.
Should you buy a car from your favorite salesperson? I mean, is that the best way, or is that the way things are done out here?
I don't think it's done out here at all. Yeah. I think people. I think the consumer's becoming more demanding, and they're becoming less tolerant. That if they go into a showroom and have to hang around for far too long, they walk out. I do honestly believe that, because I've had conversations of that nature. I've seen it happen.
Yeah.
So, from that perspective, it is about building a rapport. It's not about being a salesperson.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, the customer will buy the right car for them.
Yeah.
You've got to provide them the tools and the information to make that decision, and to make that eyes wide open decision. Yeah. Because at the end of the day, if they don't buy a car from me, they might recommend somebody else to buy a car from me.
Yeah, exactly. Word of mouth.
If I haven't got the right car for them,
it
doesn't mean that they might be having a conversation somewhere.
That's right. They go away. They said, "I had a great experience." Are you interested in buying a car? You know what? I had a great experience. Go
and see Ian at so and so.
Yeah, take his car.
Go see him.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And
or her.
or her. Exactly, because interpersonal skills. And I said this to you earlier on, that whenever I interviewed a salesperson in the UK. It didn't worry me if they were from the automotive business. In fact, sometimes I wish they weren't, because they picked up so many bad habits.
Yeah.
But it's a case of, do they have the interpersonal skills? Are they engaging?
Yeah.
Do they look you in the eye? Are they trustworthy?
Absolutely,
Are they the type of person that you would do business with?
Because
people buy from people that like.
It's really interesting. A couple of years ago, I went to a Lincoln. I think it was a workshop or something, and they had a guy there that they'd hired. To do training for salespeople and stuff like that, and also to look at showrooms and how they were set up and stuff like that. And I spoke to this guy, and this guy was not from the car industry at all.
No,
he was from the hospitality industry.
Absolutely.
So they got this specialist guy whose only job was to deal with people, to know how to make people feel special.
Absolutely.
That's what his job was,
Absolutely.
and that's what he was there to impart to salespeople.
Yes.
How to make people feel special.
Yes.
How to make them feel welcome.
I would happily, in this market, employ people from the hospitality industry, because I could quadruple their earnings, first and foremost, for them just being nice.
Yeah. now there's something in it. There's something.
I mean, come on.
There's a precious commodity right there. Yeah, being nice.
No, serious though.
It doesn't cost anything.
When I first started selling cars, way back when I first started selling cars, I couldn't believe it. I sold my first car on my second day, and I thought, this is amazing.
Yeah.
I've just got to talk to people and be nice to them.
They
buy stuff off me, right? Keep it very
build that relationship.
Keep it very, very uncomplicated. And again, I think here as well is that there is this. I suppose there's this little bit of an issue with being a little bit too submissive.
Yeah.
When you're a salesperson, you're a professional, you're an expert, you are the expert. You're there to impart your knowledge and your advice.
One would hope,
well, that's my point.
Yeah.
Okay, and it is an education process with the customer as well. You've got to be confident enough to educate the customer without getting into confrontation.
Yeah.
And all of these things are not easy things to do.
No. Even there, when you say educate, you see, it's very subtle, because you've got to be educated without being patronizing.
Absolutely.
I mean, this is going to be very careful in how you deal with it. Because if you come across as like, you're a stupid customer, and I shall now tell you what car you should have, and the customer's like, well, screw you, I'm going somewhere else.
Yeah, I'm going somewhere else.
Yeah.
Exactly. So for me, I think that I think Q4 will see a bit of a pickup.
Why do you think that?
I just think distributors are going to. If we consider the end of Ramadan, okay, we've really not
How
seen.
was Ramadan for people? Let's get some facts on the table. Was it as good as matter of fact? They always say we sell lots of cars in Ramadan. It's the best month of the year. Was it a good month this year?
In relative sense, it was a good month. The distributors.
When you say relative,
well,
we didn't sell any cars last 2 months. We sold one.
But the
it's relatively good.
No, I think let's not get too excited. But the market is the size of the market. And what was it? The Ramadan that people wanted?
It wasn't 2015 Ramadan.
No.
It wasn't.
This is like a quote from Batman. It wasn't the Ramadan they wanted. It was the Ramadan they needed.
Yeah, but then it's obviously gone back to pot again.
But it was at the end of if we look after Ramadan. There's not really a huge number of offers out there at the moment.
Yeah.
And
is that a mistake though? People always say, we don't sell many cars in summer. And I always say, why don't you sell? You don't stop selling cars. You don't stop paying your rent in summer because you're on holiday.
I think
you
people
can
just
still
stop
sell
trying.
cars. The people who wander around like me in the summer really want to buy cars because they have nothing else to do.
It comes back, and I hate to say this, but it comes back to that maximising the opportunity with the people that walk through your showroom doors, and it goes right the way back to analysing how many people come in, how we treat them, what boxes are we ticking when it comes to the sales process. It really does. It comes down to such basic elements that I know, for example, and I used to do the 50-50-50. I used to do the 50%, 50%. So I'll explain. Yeah. In the UK, if I wanted to sell 25 cars a month, I had to speak to 100 people. Right? I'll speak to 100 people, do 50 test drives, I'll sell 25 cars. Thereabouts. Okay, as a rule of thumb. It's no different here, it's human nature.
But the trouble here is that historically, the sales industry here, the sales staff here, weren't used to doing that. Because they were like, okay, I want to sell 25 cars, I'll speak to 25 people. Because that's how the market used to be.
Yeah, I think it's a case of.
Good point, actually.
It's a case of selling and order taking.
Yeah.
I said this off camera earlier, right? There is the Grand Canyon between one and the other. Okay, so there's order taking, which is purely someone coming in and saying,
no, that's like literally.
I'll have that.
What do you want? I have 3 cars, all that, you take, no problem.
Yeah, which one? Take it or leave it.
It's very easy to sell cars at the start of the cycle when the product is new and there's demand, pent-up demand. And stuff. Like the Wrangler comes in, for example, it's going to sell like hotcakes because there's a pent-up demand.
That's
so
right.
that is not a real demand. After a while, obviously that levels off. And then your sales process really begins.
Yeah, absolutely.
Then in the beginning, but people count on that out. They introduce new models in the old days. New models come in, obviously, they sell them when they're hot, and then we stop selling. New one comes.
If we go back to 2009, okay, when everything fell off a cliff, see, Chrysler, Jeep, Dodge were in enormous trouble.
Yeah.
Well, they just had a huge separation from Daimler.
Right.
Cars were not very good,
but
to be honest with you.
In 2010, there was an influx of new product, if you remember.
Yeah.
Their sales went through the roof back in 2010, 2011.
They're still riding that
wave.
Right?
And they're still riding that wave to a certain degree.
Yeah.
Because look at old Durango and look at new Durango.
Yeah.
And so on. So the influx of new products saved them in this market.
But there was a two-pronged approach, you see. Because one, good product, new product, good product, which gets people interested, gets them excited. 2, messaging. Because you can bring the good product in, if nobody knows about it, it won't make a difference. But their marketing was amazing.
Yeah.
And they were the first people to jump onto viral marketing and digital marketing and all of this sort of stuff. You know, they got it straight away. They brought humor into their ads. They were self-effacing. They were like, you know, we're not afraid to have a laugh at ourselves.
Yeah.
We're not afraid to big up the fact, why do people want our cars? Because power. Okay, let's big that up.
Yeah.
Let's have cars doing donuts. What the hell? So, I mean, you've got to get your messaging right. You've got to get that aspect of it as important as, like you said, to get people to get footfall into showrooms. You first of all have to get those foot to come towards your showroom.
Well, let's be honest. The sales funnel is wide at the top and very, very narrow at the bottom. You know, and any marketing teams,
like sales funnel.
any marketing. The problem that we have, what we've had historically in this market, GCC markets, is that sales funnel has holes in it where the distributor burns customers before they get to the decision-making process. So instead of
it's more like a sieve.
It's a bit of a there's a sieve approach going on, right? So you've got customers dripping out everywhere because you're losing them, but you're not just losing new customers. You're also losing customers that have possibly been with your brand or bought once before.
Well. So you're losing goodwill.
Yeah, exactly. So if and again, another example, I'm driving X car at the moment. I drive to my distributor that I bought the car from originally. I speak to the salesperson, and the salesperson has no interest in what car I'm driving at the moment. All he's interested in is selling a new car, because the new and used car departments don't talk to each other, for example. It's not his job to talk about the trade-in. I have to ask, do you do trade-in? And he may reluctantly say, well, here you go, you're going to have to talk to this guy over there. Right?
You know, I hate that. That's so common.
Oh, it's horrendous. The one thing that we did...
You just spent 20 minutes building up a rapport with somebody, and now you've got to talk to some other guy, and he's the one who's going to evaluate you a used car.
Well, the one thing...
It's like giving away your child.
What we did... And what we
but it's the old bureaucratic mentality. Go to window C. Take form, go to window B, go to window
form
C.
462B.
And it's like, for goodness sake, it's like in the UK. In the UK, you buy a new car. That one person would deal with everything.
That's right.
He'd come out, he'd drive your old car, he'd test it, he would assess it, and he would go, and then he would sell you a new car. That one person would deal with everything.
It's not common out here.
Well, the process that we trained, the process that I tried to instill across the Volkswagen network and also the Ford network, was that one person dealt with that one customer. Okay, so from meet and
were you successful?
From meet and greet in some cases, and. Look, this then comes down to how the management drives. Once you're off-site, it's down to how the management then drives the process. Okay, let's be frank about that. You know, and you can do all the training you like. Okay, you can do all the process recommendation you like. But if that then process is broken,
it doesn't get implemented,
and it doesn't get implemented, that is when it becomes a problem.
And that is littered with the carcasses of hire purchase and PCP agreements. Same problem.
Exactly. So what we've got is we still have a process where customer drives in, and they might only ever buy one car from you, because first and foremost, new car salesperson doesn't know how to handle the trade-in. I then have to go and speak to a buyer. The buyer has one objective: buy it as cheap as possible, even though it's my own brand. Damages residual value. Customer doesn't buy another new one. They go somewhere else.
He has to come back after being absolutely shat on by the used car buyer. He comes up there and he's like, "Now can I buy a new car, please?" He's not in a good mood.
Of course not.
He's not in a good mood.
So you could almost lose that sale. Between him leaving your desk, going there and coming back. He might change
his valuation.
Well, the point is you have lost it because the process is with any customer, whether they're paying cash or whether they're paying a monthly payment. It's monthly payment or cost to change, right? Because you want to keep the customer within the brand, right? So that is one transaction. It's not two, it's one. So the customer has this real, and I call it horrendous experience, having to negotiate on a new car, and then having to negotiate on his trade-in,
exactly.
right? Trying to get the best price he possibly can.
See, the way it works, I remember in the UK the way it used to work, is that because that one person is dealing with everything, the one person can sweeten that trade-in. Do you know what I mean? He already knows the margin is, but he wants to make you feel good. And I've had that. I've traded in cars that I've traded in for far more than I should have been able to get for it. But the salesman's like, I can get this guy if I just sweeten that deal for him. If I make him look like he's got a win there, then I can get a win here.
This is when you've got a used car manager and a new car manager talking to each other, and they talk about the deal in question, because it's not just about that one transaction. Okay, it's actually about, as a used car manager, it's in my interest to buy that car, to bring it in, to refurbish it, and to sell it, because
and you know what that cost is going to be,
and you know what the refurbishment cost is going to be, and so on and so on.
And if it's the same brand, obviously you have the full history, you know everything about
course,
that.
Exactly. So we're not inventing. Look, we're not inventing fire here.
Yeah.
Right? It's not beyond the wit of man. This isn't inventing fire. This is about going back to basics and driving a process at the shop floor level, irrespective of offer. Right? Forget offers.
Yeah.
Just forget it at the minute. Let's talk about fundamental basic.
Do you think offers are the
process.
wrong way to get people into the showrooms?
No, I think it has to be a combination. I think it has to be a combination of offers, product, message, service. You know, and you get that combination right. You've got the perfect storm. But the bottom line is, you've got to drive as many people in through the doors as possible. But where it breaks down is then that experience on the shop floor at the shop floor level. And that's when it can fall apart.
So we never really answered how is the new market doing? Well, we sort of got there.
Well, new market's going to be down roughly 23-25% base.
But we hope by Q4, boop, straight up.
No.
No. More like that.
Stabilization.
I think you might see. Perfect point. Yeah. Stabilisation going into 18. Yeah. I don't think VAT is going to have a massive impact on.
It doesn't look like it, is it?
No.
You think most people are just going to absorb it and say, we pay the VAT, that's going to be the offer?
100%.
You reckon?
Yes.
He's got a very confident look. He's very confident.
No, I mean, to be honest,
we've
been saying that since they announced VAT. Because it's 5%.
We've been saying it as well since the introduction.
So the first clever dick who comes up there and says, and everybody's going to copy that the next week, and it's going to happen. It's going to crap across the board. So VAT is not going to be a game changer. VAT rates can change, but it'll take a while.
I think where distributors and manufacturers may be slightly missing a trick is that how VAT is going to be calculated on used cars, because on used cars it's going to be calculated on the margin. It's not going to be calculated on the screen price, because the VAT has already been paid on the screen price. Yeah. So it's on the margin.
Treating it like a service as opposed to.
So for example, if I've got 5,000 dirhams margin in that car, it's 5% of 5,000.
Right.
It's not 5%. It's not 5% of 55.
Right.
So there could be, if I've got my head screwed on as a distributor, an opportunity for me to probably wash through some demonstrators, fleet cars, and so on and so on and so forth.
But the trouble with that doesn't that mean that there needs to be greater transparency then on that margin? Because otherwise, how do you know what the VAT you'll be paying unless you actually full disclosure? This is the margin on this car.
Well, in actual fact, that's not 100%. We don't know what's going to happen there. When we talk about everyone in the UK knows that the VAT element is 20%. Yeah.
20%. Eat that 5%. You're complaining about 5%. It's 20% in the UK.
Well, the UK is 17 and a half, right?
Or
it's
20 now.
It's 20 now.
It's been 20. It's been 20 for about 5 years.
My God, that's old news. It used to be 15 back in the day. But in the UK, you have VAT and you have car tax as well. What? You still have car tax.
What's car tax?
That's tax on tax.
It's to tax
you are being ripped off in the UK.
Yeah, and then you've got 80% tax on petrol.
You guys don't know how good you've got it.
This is what they talk about in Ritz in Dubai.
80% tax on petrol.
Don't even go petrol. Don't even talk about petrol.
People moan, it's 10 fills more this month. I'm like,
forget about it.
10 fills. Right.
This has been the longest full chat of all time. Let's wrap it up. Cool. Thank you so much for this. Thanks a lot. It's been fantastic. It's been a great insight into the market. And I think generally, the message to take away is that the market is stabilizing. It's not all doom and gloom. It's a great time to be out there buying cars. Salespeople, manufacturers, dealers, you've got to work harder. Simple fact. Customers, you've never had it so good.
And quick final plugs. Where can people find you?
www.autodata.ae.
www.autodata.me. Right?
AE.
All right.
ME's Macedonia.
Oh.
But people think it's from the Middle East.
Fair enough.
Right.
Cool. Thanks very much.
Thanks. Thank you.